Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash, that belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Salutation to the Yaki, I'm preaching the truth to the four corners of the earth in sincerity. This is your brother Yakal coming to you with another lesson, Lord, and be edifying to the Spirit. As the title reads, be not deceived by these. And by these women, you can't chime off. These women, these demons, these Satan angels, right? I'm saying angels. I mean to say agents, right? Because that is what they're doing. When you understand what they're doing in society is that they're evil already. And we've been warned by our beloved apostles and elder brothers and everyone been warning about the nigger woman. You understand? The nigger woman, you could see more and more now why brothers not putting itself with these women. Why? I wanna say brothers, don't get it wrong. Akium and Jakes on the whole. You see them more even with these artists. Even with these what you call them? These stars. You see them more with white women or with some Asian or even these basketballers, all of them, because they realize that the nigger woman, she not adding to them, but takes away, and we've been seeing it. They head not right. Right? Even some of the women who claim to be the truth, even their head not right. It's for the reprogramming, where the Lord has to bring that reprogramming in the new covenant when the Lord returns, for them to really be in a right mind. But that is not what I come to talk about. We're dealing with the deceivableness of them. Don't be deceived by them. Look out, and this is a piece of news, right? So I'll read it out. It's not that long. It says, nice girls don't come that easy. And that is according to where you want to differentiate as nice. It says, man avoids robbery in Jasmine honey trap at Dump Road, Arima. And notice it says, man avoids robbery. Right? It says, just hours after Ian Allen Network highlighted a robbery in which a Maloney man was lured to Dump Road in Arima by a woman named Jasmine. Another man has come forward with a clingingly similar experience. So he chillingly, right? So he went through the same thing basically, right? This guy was set up to get robbed and he was lured to that area, but what has happened was we'll get to it more. We'll continue reading. It says, according to the second man, Jasmine recently attempted to lure him to the same area, but he sensed something was off. So the first man got robbed and stolen some items, and he got robbed some items, and whatever the case may be, and this man sensed something was off, right? It says the pictures you're seeing of Jasmine are a bit revealing, but I guess that's how she or they pull in their targets. The man said she wanted me to come there too. She wanted me to come there too, but I know nice girls don't be that easy to get. She told me to walk with money for her to do stuff. That's how they ensure the victims have something on them when they strike. The first reported incident occurred on Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, around 12 p.m. when a 21-year-old man from Maloney was ambushed and robbed while waiting for Jasmine. So Jasmine been on the prowl. These women looking for easy targets, and it's not something new that's been happening years now. All over the world has been happening. You understand? But the men so love our box. You understand? They're willing to risk everything to get that box. And it's not like they're using their heads. They're not thinking with their head. They're not even thinking with, what they ought to really and truly. They that have wives, be like do they have none. Right? Because your focus is supposed to be on the Lord. Your focus should really be searching for things like the Lord and being in so much in the spirit that you're looking out for these signs. Right? That these women not good out here. These women is trash. You understand? All it have out here right now is the Lord. Right? Now we ain't saying a man shouldn't have a wife. Man, you gotta have a wife and try to keep her in the spirit. But the thing about it is, to team these dragons out here is nearly impossible until the Lord rewire them. Right? So, with the dragons them that out in the world, right, this is what they're doing. And this is what they're doing to men. You understand? And I could go down into it where it says he was robbed 400 in cash and his phone, whatever the case may be. But the thing about it is Jasmine is where all the attention is. You understand? Jasmine, these women setting up men left, right, and center. You understand? So I'm gonna go to the scriptures here. Start babbling. Right, this food says just 426. It says, yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. So you clearly see that men running out their wits for women, right? Where they running out their wits as in doing anything, they becoming slaves. When you read it in the GNT clearly tell you that men becoming slaves for women, they're doing any and anything. You understand? They're running out their wits, they're doing the most. Right? So, because a woman tell you she'll get a little box, she send you a little picture. You're running out your wits, you're running here and there. When really and truth, it could be a trap. Just like what this guy went through here. You understand? And it could be a Jasmine. And within that, you end up in a situation where, unfortunate to you, now you realize that you end up in this situation and you're calling upon the Lord. And you're asking the Lord to deliver you. Now the Lord is not short that he could deliver you. Right? And most likely he would deliver you. But sometimes we had to burn to learn. And before burning to learn, we could see it from afar. Right? 27, it says, many also have perished, have erred, let's go back to erred, and sinned for women. Right? Because this whole stem from a question. Right? And the question was, which one you think is above? You understand? And the answer was women. Because the scripture even said that. Let me get that precept. Right? It's Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. And it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. So children are the oppressors, women rule over them. You understand? Whoever and that word in the world we use, whipped. Some men are pussy whipped, and some men never had the understanding of having that women before, so they don't have the experience. But what the Apostle Paul is saying, let me get that precept one time. Right. Precept one time. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 7. And it reads, for I would that all men were even as myself, but every man had his proper gift of Yahweh, one after this manner and another after that. So when he said he would let everyone be like himself, here he's talking about. Verse 8, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. So unmarried and widows, we have to, because marriage, sex is marriage, right? So not having a wife or a husband, that's what it says here, it was 9. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. Right? Because burning is burning in the flesh where you can't contain yourself. The hormones taking over, you need to burst. Right? You need to release. Because even that is another chemical reaction when you release or when you have sex, it reduces stress. It's common. You can look it up. Right? But the thing about it is, the Apostle Paul said, if you can't contain, right, and even being thirsty, That is not something that a man of the Lord is supposed to be. As in, if you're to see over your wife or whatever the case may be, that is okay. But with women, that means that you're not exercising discretion. You're not exercising what the scripture say? It's a let me get our precept. Discretion shall preserve. Alright. It's 1 Corinthians 9:25, straight to the point. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So the point about this, what I said the Apostle Paul said, was 1 Corinthians 9:25. Temperate. Now we could go into that meaning. Temperate. It says, relating to or denoting a region. What? Let me get into the online etymology. Esau was messing with something. Fuck. Right, we have it here. This is temperate. It says, modest, forbearing, self-restraint, right? Not swayed by passion, and this is yapa, because it not you meaning that you're not swayed by your feelings or your thirstiness not driving you. You understand? You're being modest. You're being self-restrained. You're putting restraints on yourself. Because the man who get robbed, right? We are robbed his phone and money. He wasn't thinking wisely. You understand? Why you think you're telling yourself a nice girl? But that's another thing. But that's how to evaluate yourself to what they call nice girls. Because to me, I can clearly see that she's a demon, and you know what them demons are them around here. You understand? The scriptures tell them the women not to liken yourself, you not to be girded with broidered hair and nails and all this bullshit makeup and that's not how a woman's supposed to be. A woman's supposed to be delighting herself and being modest, dressing modestly. You understand? With head covered, being shamefaced. Trying to focus on how she could be a wife. That is what a woman's supposed to be doing. You understand? Thinking about her duties on a different level, not focusing on the world, because the scripture mentioned that as well too. If you focus on the things of the woman of the world, you're gonna die with the women of the world. A woman that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. But we just see this video is more for the men to think with their head, and not that head down there, but with this head. You understand? And more for the spirit, right? I think the Apostle Paul mentioned this as well too. Besides the temperate, every man that striveth for mastery, let me get it back. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they that do it, because he's striving for mastery, he's striving to be a master. A master of what? A master of this craft, of being in the truth, studying. You understand? And we went into it. Having the understanding about something is complete knowledge. Because yes, they have the knowledge, but complete knowledge is having the understanding of it, where you do it and you experience it. You understand? The application, you apply it. Now you see the fruits of it, where you was already doing it. You wasn't dealing with this nigga woman via instructions of the apostles on down. And look, you see somebody end up in destruction and you understand it. Yeah, well, that wasn't you. To what I have, I should shy. You understand? That's not even brother's target. Brothers should not, if they're looking for women, be targeting these kind of women. To mislead you and carry and hold some way to rob you. That's crazy. Right? Another precept came to mind. Because is it a certain things in a woman that you could actually tell? You understand? These women who like to talk loudly, and these women who like to be disobedient. That disobedient woman is something to fear. You understand? Because if she disobedient to you on a regular day, how she's gonna be when it's time for she to really listen, right? And talk and that is Proverbs. We get it here. There's the book of Proverbs chapter 21 and verses 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop, on a roof, than with a brawling woman in a white house. So that yeah, because you see, the corner of your rooftop is a dangerous place to be. That's why the scripture is so poetic. The corner of a rooftop is a dangerous place to be. It could fall. But it's better to dwell there than to be in a house, in a white house, with a brawling woman. Right? And then there's a scripture that says, I'd rather dwell with a drag. Let me see if I get that. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 15 or 16. 16. It says, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it shall sigh bitterly. All wickedness, and this is something that you gotta get in your head, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So this is the next thing when the scripture say, marvel not if she trespass. Meaning that we don't marvel, because all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. The things that a woman willing to do, you understand? She willing to set up a whole account. That might even be her. It might be somebody else. It might need, and she get somebody else's picture and she set up the whole thing. And even if it's not her, and it's men doing it, right, to convince another man, they would need a woman's voice. So they would need to have a wicked bitch on standby, that when they call Meek, or the video call Meek, this wicked bitch on the phone talking, backing up these men in their plot. You understand? And that's just how serious it is out here. You understand? It's easy to deceive men that's stupid, right? Who not thinking, who got the spirit on them to discern certain things. That's spiritual discernment, right? And that's why a woman supposed to really and truly be in discipline, because the scripture say that disobedience is as the sin of witchcraft, right? So being disobedient to your husband and being disobedient even to your parents coming up, before this woman was a hoe or a slut or disobedient in all ways, not seeing the signs. Because hey, I would really say it, these women out there blind as fuck. If they don't notice by now, the only good men that have out there is the men of the Lord. Right? That's the only good thing you could do to yourself out here. Put it every man, especially in this time in here. You're going to die. You're going to die. It's simple. Yahweh Shem Yahushai dealing up with men. You understand? He dealing up with these specific men and their women and children, because they are going to have children and women. And that's what the Lord dealing with. Because the scripture said that the woman and the children will be protected. That is why the prophecy coming to pass, where it's going to be said that a man will have more than 7 women will cleave unto one man. And they would say, let us just be called by thy name. Let us just be called by thy name. We don't want nothing. We just want to be called by thy name. You know why? Because they're going to realize that they were going on. We need to be this man's possession, this man's wife, in order to make it. You understand? And it's not going to be that, because the prophecy taking place, because the scripture didn't say 7 and a man and the Lord will take 7 women. The scripture said that 7 women will cleave, meaning that that 7 is a completion, right? 7 represents completion. There's not a fixed number. right? Because it's only obvious there's going to be more than 7. There's going to be a whole heap, knowing that these are the men of the Lord and I need to get to them, and men going to be, and the men of the Lord going to be not dealing with that. Because that is just more baggage in time to come. The sincere who the Lord sent, that you know sincere, that is who you will be dealing with. But other than that, a man of the Lord not going to be on that with these women, these wicked women who have so forever been wicked, and we've been educated on them through the scriptures and the apostles and the bishops and brethren are wrong. You know, even with experience, we've been educated on women. How wicked they are, how stupid they are. You understand? And I just bring the news article to prove, to show a point. Right? Because as the scripture mentioned, a deep ditch. That is what these women are. A deep ditch. And a brother, no name to be called, a brother mentioned that to us, that about that scripture with a deep ditch. And he ended up falling into a deep ditch because of a woman. You understand? So these women are not to be praised. They're not to be, these women out there are to be humble, put yourself in a humble state, and recognize what the world is showing them, what the Lord is showing them, and the world as well too. Because the world is spewing out prophecy and things to come, where brothers making it plain upon tables, they're making it known what is to happen, and it's just for you to see it. Right? So I will cut it here, you know. It wasn't to be a long lesson, but nevertheless through the spirit to what I have about shy. So understanding it, the essence of it is don't be deceived by these women. You understand? Don't be deceived. Don't run out your wits. Don't think without using the spirit. Don't think without using wisdom. Because you do that wisdom, go back to wise, and the of knowledge, go back to knowledge come from know, to know. Right? So we need to know how to be wise when dealing with women. Because their destruction coming soon, sooner than later. Their destruction is close. Right? So Lord willing, let us know that the find through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And I say, Kalala Yamla, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakodash, double honor to the elders and apostles of great mills and real well. Salutation to the Aki and preaching the truth to the four corners of the earth in sincerity. Shalom, shalom, shalom.